On the 14th May 2019 in Detroit in Michigan, in the United States, a 27 years old Elizabeth Candice Nicole Laird was entering into an elevator after she had visited her boyfriend, Jay. While in the elevator, she encountered a man who was a serial killer. The man made unwanted advances at her with the intention of killing her. Since they were the only people in the elevator, Candice tried to fight off the serial killer. But since the man was more powerful than her, he overpowered her and hit her. Candy's blood split inside the elevator as she became unconscious. The serial killer sexually assaulted her and killed her in the process. The serial killer then dumped Candy's body in a trash chute in the dumpster near that building. Why did the serial killer murder Elizabeth Candy? Join us as we unfold the events that led to Elizabeth Candy's untimely death. Elizabeth Candice Nicole Laird was born on the 9th April 1992 in Detroit, in Michigan, in the United States of America. Candice was popularly known as Candy, and she had a mother by the name of Diana Can. Apart from that, she also had an elder brother by the name of Curtis. While growing up, she had a vibrant personality, and she made friends easily. Her mother characterized her as a highly brilliant young lady who was doing well. Candy went to Martin Luther King High School, where she completed her studies in the year 2009. After graduating from high school, she enrolled at Jackson College, where she trained as a surgical technician. However, her ultimate goal was to become a nurse. Candy was incredibly passionate and dedicated to her studies. She had a strong work ethics, and she succeeded academically, earning consecutive A's. She always made sure her workstation was perfectly organized with all her tools ready for surgical procedures. She was passionate about her career, that she would record videos of herself sitting up at her workspace. Candy's efforts were rewarded when she landed an internship at St. Province. She was thrilled about this opportunity as it brought her one step closer to her dream of becoming a nurse. Her excitement and enthusiasm were contagious, and everyone around her knew she was destined for great things. She was a few weeks to graduate from Jackson College that year, and nothing could stop her. Beyond her academic and career achievement, Candy was deeply rooted in her faith. Her faith was the central part of her life, and she practiced it with sincerity and devotion. She followed the teachings of Elijah Muhammad, who was an Islam religious leader. She often invited her friends and family to join her in a mass service, sharing her spiritual energy and warmth with them. People would always approach her for prayers, and she would always oblige without hesitation. Candy was also proud of her Black heritage. Her grandfather had been a bodyguard for Martin Luther King Jr., and this connection to the civil rights movement inspired her. She often spoke about her heritage and wanted to help Black children to appreciate their history and culture. Candy was a kind-given person and always had the desire to help others. She was selfless and had a heart of gold. On her Facebook page, she expressed her desire to write a book for young Black children. One time she wrote, "I think I want to write a children's book about being a young Black child." Candy had a boyfriend who was known as Jay. These two lovers had dated for 3 years. Candy was deeply in love with him, and they shared a strong bond. She was hoping to spend the rest of her life with him, and she often expressed her love for him on social media, appreciating the way he helped her grow mentally and emotionally. She even wrote on her Facebook page, "We have been through many trials, but nothing enough to reap us apart. Me and Jay against the world," not tagging him either. "We don't need no noisy people. I love a tall chocolate man." Candy saw Jay as a long-life partner who would support and accompany her through life's obstacles and triumphs. The tragic events that led to the death of Candy unfolded. On May 14th, 2019, when she went to visit her boyfriend, Jay, at his apartment in the Park View Towers on the Square apartment building in Detroit. The couple were enjoying their time together as usual. Candy decided to step out of the apartment for a while. Following her brief departure from the apartment, leaving her belongings behind, she mysteriously failed to return. Her boyfriend, filled with concern over her absence and the presence of her belongings still in the apartment, he alerted the police and reported her as missing. The following day, on Wednesday, May 15th, 2019, The police were called to Parkview Towers Square apartment building on the 1600 block of Robert Brady Drive after the residents noticed the presence of blood in the elevator. The police searched the area and made a gruesome discovery. They discovered the body of a young lady in a dumpster behind the building. The body was later identified as of the 27 years old Elizabeth Candice Nicole Laird. An autopsy revealed that Candy had been murdered. The cause of her death was comprehensive asphyxia, meaning her chest had been compressed to the point where she could not breathe. The autopsy also revealed that she was sexually assaulted. This horrifying news raised fears of a serial killer on the loose in the neighborhood, as Candy was the third woman to be murdered in that area within a week. During the investigation, police discovered that Candy was not a resident of the building. They spoke with her family, who told the investigators that Candy was in the building visiting her boyfriend, Jay. Jay was arrested as suspect in the death of Candy because he had been with her before she disappeared. He was then questioned concerning the death of his girlfriend. The investigations took an unexpected turn when the police received a tip about red bodily fluid found in the elevator of Parkview Tower, where Candy had been on the day of the murder. This prompted the security to obtain and review the surveillance footage of the entire building. The surveillance footage showed a tall black man arriving at the apartment in black-colored vehicle. He was wearing glasses, a dark hooded sweatshirt, and wheat-colored boots. At some point, he was seen talking on his cell phone in the hallway while waiting for the elevator. When the investigators reviewed more of that surveillance footage, they saw Candy leaving her boyfriend's apartment and encountering the man in the elevator. Inside the elevator of Jay's apartment building, the man began making unwanted advances at her, since they were the only people in that elevator. Candy did all she could to fight off the man, but being a smaller person and a woman, the man tragically overpowered her. He then grabbed and struck her down violently, which left traces of blood in the elevator. He then sexually assaulted her before murdering and dumping her body in a trash chute, which led to a dumpster on 1600 block of Robert Brady B Drive, just a few feet away from Jay's apartment. Candy's missing report would quickly escalate into an homicide investigation. The disturbing discovery of her body horrified the entire neighborhood, with people fearing to leave their homes and go about their businesses. After knowing the killer, Jay was immediately cleared as a suspect in the murder of Candy. The killer was identified by the police as a 50-years-old man, James Quill Cockerham. The police released his names and photos and appealed to the public for assistance in locating him. He was located just 12 minutes away from where Candy's body was found. 5 days after the death of Elizabeth Candice Nicole Laird, James Cockerham was arrested and held without bond at Detroit Detention Center awaiting formal charges. He was finally charged with first-degree murder, torture, and unlawful imprisonment in connection with Candy's murder. James Cockerham was a notorious career criminal and a registered sex offender. He had been convicted of several crimes including weapons charges, criminal sexual conduct, car theft, and armed robbery. James Cockerham remained largely silent during his appearance through a video arrangement on the 36th District Court following the charges which had been tabled before him. In the short duration of his court appearance, he was denied bail due to the seriousness of all the charges against him, to which he pleaded not guilty. He was also considered a flight risk because he has previously violated his parole. In the aftermath of her death, Candy's family and friends came together to honor her memory. They held a vigil to remember her life and mourn her tragic loss. Her family spoke out, expressing their profound grief and the enduring impact of her death in their lives. Sadly, her mother was actually looking forward to her getting married and giving her grandchildren. Candy's big brother, Curtis, also thought there was something he could have done to prevent what happened to her baby sister. There were many unanswered concerns regarding the murder of Candy, including how James Cockerham was able to enter a security apartment while he did not reside there. The carelessness of Parkview Towers apartment management to a great extent contributed to what happened to Candy. James Cockerham did not live in that apartment's complex, so it was unclear how he managed to get inside the apartment building without any restrictions. Typically, apartment complexes have security measures in place to prevent unauthorized access. Residents usually needs to buzz in their guests, or guests needs to be verified by security personnel. However, surveillance footage shows James Cockerham casually walking into the building without any security in sight to confirm his identity or to confirm who he was looking for. This security lapse was very concerning. There should have been measures put in place to prevent any unauthorized access into the building, ensuring the safety of all the residents. James Cockerham was found guilty of murdering Candy, and he was sentenced to life imprisonment. In the days following Candy's death, some of her friends took to social media to mourn her and share their sweet memories of their time together with her. Loved ones of Elizabeth Candy gathered at a park to bid farewell to her after her life was tragically cut short. What happened to Candy was tragic because she complained on social media about having to fight guys off her. In one of her posts, she said, "Not trying to be funny, but I always have a hard time fighting men of me. If I say I got a man, they should understand that. But instead, this shit turns into a competition." In another post, she said, "It is important to pay attention because people be real creeps out here. You got watch your person's demeanor. That will at least give you a clue on their action."